Welcome to Oryx Learning. Today's lesson is on Unit 9, Volume and Surface Area, Lesson 1, Volume of a Cylinder. Some food for thought. How is the formula for the volume of a cylinder similar to the volume of a rectangular prism? If you would like to find out the answer to this question, please follow along and we'll revisit it at the end. Volume is the measure of the space occupied by a solid. Volume is measured in cubic units. A cylinder is a three-dimensional figure with two parallel congruent circular bases connected by a curved surface. Objects made up of more than one type of solid are called composite solids. To find the volume of a composite solid, decompose the figure into solids whose volume you know how to find. The volume V of a cylinder with radius r is the area of the base B times the height h. In other words, V equals B times h, where B equals pi r squared. So the formula you'll see most often is V equals pi r squared h. We can see in the diagram that the r represents the radius and that the h represents the height of the cylinder. Choose the correct equation to calculate the volume of a cylinder with a radius of 12 and a height of 8. Using the volume of a cylinder formula, V equals pi r squared h, we can substitute in the values for the radius and the height. If the radius r is 12 and the height h is 8, then our formula becomes V equals pi times 12 squared times 8. Looking at the formulas above, we can see that this matches the fourth option, V equals pi times 12 squared times 8. Find the volume of the cylinder below. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. As we can see in the cylinder, the radius is 5 centimeters and the height is 8.3 centimeters. Using our volume of a cylinder formula, V equals pi r squared h, we can substitute in these values. So if r is 5 and h is 8.3, then our equation becomes V equals pi times 5 squared times 8.3. Multiplying the 5 squared by the 8.3, we get V equals 207.5 pi. Multiplying 207.5 times pi and rounding to the nearest tenth, we'll get that V is approximately 651.9 centimeters cubed. Remember, volume is always measured with a cubic measurement, so the label in this case is centimeters cubed. Tanya uses cube-shaped beads to make jewelry. Each bead has a circular hole through the middle. Find the volume of each bead. So here we have an image of our bead. The cube is 12 by 12 by 12, and the cylinder has a diameter of 2 millimeters. So in order to find the volume of the bead, we'll take the volume of the cube minus the volume of the cylinder. The volume of a cube is represented by V equals s to the third, where in this case s is 12, so then V equals 12 to the third. 12 times 12 times 12, or 12 to the third, is 1,728. So the volume of the cube is 1,728 millimeters cubed. The volume of a cylinder, we can use the formula V equals pi r squared h, where in this case r is 1 and h is 12. Remember that if the diameter of the cylinder is 2, the radius is half of that. Half of 2 is 1, so the radius is 1. If we substitute in a radius of 1 and a height of 12, we get a formula that is V equals pi times 1 squared times 12. So V equals 12 pi millimeters to the third, or cubed. To find the volume of the bead, we'll take the volume of the cube minus the volume of the cylinder, which will give us approximately 1,690.3 millimeters cubed. So back to our original question. How is the formula for the volume of a cylinder similar to the volume of a rectangular prism? In both shapes, the volume equals the area of the base times the height. V equals B times H. A rectangular prism has a volume formula of V equals length times width times height, where the length times width is the area of the base. A cylinder has a volume formula of V equals pi r squared h, where pi r squared is the area of the base. So as you can see, both formulas are essentially the area of the base times the height. They just have different shapes for the base, therefore different formulas for the area of the base. Volume is the measure of the space occupied by a solid. Volume is measured in cubic units. The formula for finding volume is V equals B times H, where B is the area of the base. A cylinder is a three-dimensional figure with two parallel congruent circular bases connected by a curved surface. The formula for finding the volume of a cylinder is V equals pi r squared h. Objects made up of more than one type of solid are called composite solids. To find the volume of a composite solid, decompose the figure into solids whose volume you know how to find. That is our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.